Hi everybody, welcome to CSA Bangalore chapter and Power of Knowing Forums Knowledge Nexus Tech that moves ideas that scale you. And the topic of discussion today is GRC in the age of AI, scaling trust, reducing risk, enhancing value. Your go-to podcast on how AI transforming cybersecurity. I am your host Prem Kumar AS today, and we are exploring how AI is reshaping GRC landscape. A special welcome to all tuned on Power of Knowing Forum and CSA Bangalore episode 231 on LinkedIn Live. Today we have the honor of having Seema Khandelwal, security strategy, risk and compliance leader, joining us. Let's welcome our esteemed speaker onto the podcast event and dive into the topic. Hi Seema, welcome to our
Hi,
podcast. How are you
thank
doing
you.
today?
Hi, everyone. Good evening.
Good evening. So a small
Thank
intro
you so
about,
much for giving me this opportunity.
yeah, sorry, there's a lag I believe. So
Yeah, sure.
welcome. You are saying something. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Seema.
No, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity on this episode of 231 on GRC and AI integration.
Thank you for that, Seema. Without further ado, a small intro would help the audience about your journey. That would help before we start the to dive into the topic.
Sure, Prem. So, as a seasoned professional in GRC, my career has been dedicated to integrating innovative technologies to enhance organizational trust and value. So, beginning in the financial sector, I developed a robust foundation in risk management and compliance. And transitioning into technology industry, I embrace the transformative potential of artificial intelligence RC frameworks. And also, leadership roles have involved spearheading AI driven initiatives that streamline compliance processes and mitigate emerging risk. In tech, I have been committed to mentoring and empowering professionals to pursue and excel in GRC and AI fields. So, in this episode, I'll try my best to share insights of my journey, highlighting the intersection of AI and GRC. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Seema. To start with, we will start with our first pointer that I would like to understand from you. What pivotal moment led you to embrace AI driven solutions in your GRC journey?
So one of the key moment was during an internal audit where we realized our compliance processes were too reactive.
Mhm.
So a suspicious transaction pattern has gone undetected,
Okay.
which led to regulatory scrutiny. So traditional rule-based systems generated too many false positives, so making it hard to focus on real risk. So when we introduced AI-driven anomaly detection, it quickly identified hidden patterns, reducing the false positives by 70%, and that gave a lot of time to our compliance team so that they could focus on high risk cases instead of sitting through irrelevant alerts. So that way, seeing embracing this AI technology helped us in enhancing human decision making rather than replace it. Made me realize its true potential actually, and that shift transformed our compliance strategy from reactive to proactive.
Okay. So that's a place where you thought you adding AI driven solutions would help. Can you share a
Yes,
single
definitely.
instance where integrating AI into GRC process significantly mitigated a potential risk?
Sure. I mean, there are many actually, but yeah, one which I can highlight here for the forum is like while investigating a case, we found structured deposits were being used to launder money. So, wherein in traditional monitoring tools failed to detect it, and the transaction stayed just below reporting thresholds, where we uh, like say I'll just give an example. Like say the limit is 10,000, and you're able to transfer only 9,800, so it gets undetected if it is 10,000, if it is not 10,000 and it is 9,800 kind of, right? Because the limit what we set is like 10,000, so that way making them appear legitimate. So AI driven behavior analytics revealed hidden connections between these multiple accounts based on shared IP addresses and without withdrawal patterns. So this led us to uncover a network of companies where moving the illicit funds. Without AI, these transactions would have remained undetected for much longer, increasing the risk of regulatory risk and financial risk. So the case helps us know that AI goes beyond rule-based detection to identify sophisticated threats. So that way, it reinforces the importance of AI in enhancing financial crime prevention.
I think what you're saying is how AI is telling us to, or telling us in a sense that if there is a change in the amount that you are doing, and there is something which you goes undetected when it is done through a manual process, but when you have AI,
Yes.
you are saying that it gets detected in a formats where you can get to know that the amount was specified something and the amount that is got credited is something else, right? So that's what you are trying. How do we
Yes.
ensure
Yes.
that AI driven compliance tools align with evolving regulatory standards?
How do you ensure?
How do we
What's the
ensure
question?
that AI driven compliance tools align with evolving regulatory standards? Because every now and then there is a change in the regulatory standards that happen, right? So, how do we look at the
Yeah.
tools that we are buying and how is that it is getting used? So, if you can give us an insight on that.
Sure. I think what we can do is like AI-driven compliance tools must be adaptable, transparent, and regularly updated to meet the changing regulations.
Mhm.
So what we do is we use a regulatory sandbox
Okay.
to test AI models against new compliance rules before deployment. So, explainability is a priority, and also ensuring that compliance teams understand why AI is flagging certain transactions. So, in regular audits, help detect biases and ensure fairness in decision making. We also collaborate with regulators to align AI processes with legal requirements. So, a human in the loop approach ensures that AI supports rather than replaces regulatory expertise. These strategies keep AI driven compliance tools accurate, accountable, and adaptable.
Now, when there is a change in such tools, how do we see that kind of alignment is what we want to understand. Is there something that we should look at, or there is, as regulatory changes change, we need to align to the tools OEMs to help us in
Yes.
getting that. That
We need to train our tools as well as we need to have some sandbox where we can test it before we deploy any model or anything,
Mhm.
so that it is adaptable to those regulations.
Okay. Now, with what strategies have you found effective in fostering trust among stakeholders when introducing AI into traditional GRC framework? Because GRC framework is already set and it is a traditional framework that is there. Now, how do we look at bringing the stakeholders aligned when we bring AI driven tools?
So what I feel is personally frame, because we cannot change the frameworks because they are already evolved and they are up, I mean, uh, widely used, and we cannot change it. What we can change is ex- train ourselves
Hmm.
to because AI is evolving. AI is I mean, not evolving, it is evolved already, is what I feel. And certain people are still getting adapted and trying to move to the AI side. So that way, trust in AI begins with transparency, education, and collaboration. So we ensure that AI generated decisions are explainable.
Hmm.
So the stakeholders understand why risks are flagged. So running AI alongside manual processes allows teams to compare results and gain confidence in its accuracy. So, engaging regulators also in early stages helps to demonstrate compliance with legal and ethical standards. And training sessions for employees clarifies AI's role as a support system rather than replacement for human judgment. Also, we also should establish a feedback loops, allowing compliance teams to refine AI recommendations over time. So these efforts make AI adoption smoother and more widely accepted.
Pointer where we the training and the uh, stakeholders
Education,
education support.
transparency, and
Yeah,
collaboration.
so that I think
Yeah.
the current scenario, all the stakeholders should understand why AI is required and how this can be
Yes.
enhanced. And the way you look at the traditional GRC framework, you'll bring AI to give you more enhanced control in terms of how we can look at governance, risk, and compliance, right? So if we see all the three factors getting taken care, right? That's what you are trying to give us
Yes.
an insight. Okay, great on that. What?
And also involving regulators also, so that it is the AI thing, and the regulation also is applicable or applied on the particular models, and also that we don't miss on those parts, because it will be a huge financial loss if that is not uh, what you call
I
taken care of.
I get your point where the compliances have become very strict when we look at the current structure.
Yes.
Now you look at any data loss or data theft or cross-border data transfers, all these are coming with their own loss, right? So I think what you're saying is we will have to look at how these laws are getting implemented, and also looking with AI being added to this as a wrapper on top of the framework that is there. So we have to be
Yes.
very careful in terms of how do we manage data cross border. One, how do you look at AI does not take an advantage because you have given some kind of permissions to look at this GRC data, and it does not transfer data which is there across, and that we get into a compliance issue. I get your point there, and that education is what you're talking about in terms of helping the stakeholders and the team to understand why AI driven mechanisms are important to be implemented. Great pointer there. Could you also discuss a challenge that you faced while scaling a AI solution in GRC? And is there a pointer that you did to overcome it?
Okay, wherein a key challenge was data inconsistency across different regions,
Mhm.
which led to inaccurate AI risk assessments.
Okay.
So some systems lacked the key data points, affecting AI's ability to detect risk uniformly. So to address this, we standardized data structures and ensured high quality, consistent inputs.
Hmm.
Also, we also customized AI models for regional uh, compliance differences instead of using a one size fits all approach. So, implementing a continuous validation process allowed compliance officers to review and fine tune AI outputs. So, this approach improved accuracy and built trust in AI driven risk detection. So the experience also reinforced that AI's effectiveness depends on the data quality and governance. So this both combined together, we'll be able to use the AI effectiveness effectively. Is what I.
Okay. Your pointer is that how do we look at effectiveness is what you're talking about, Seema. Am I right in saying that?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, that way we can use it
Okay.
effectively. The artificial intelligence can be used effectively where we need to have data quality and governance. So the key challenge what we faced was there was
Ah,
inconsistency in data, wherein we trained the models and we brought in the regulations related separation, and then we tried that approach. So because we cannot fit everything in one approach,
mm.
right? So we need to have different regional compliances and separately. I mean differences instead of using one size fits for all approach.
If I
We customize the AI models for regional compliances differences.
So you're saying is that the model was designed in such a way that it takes care of the regional compliance, right? That's the important. Okay,
Yes,
okay.
exactly.
Now, how do
So we were facing the problem in that particular area itself, where the data was inconsistent because it was coming from different regions. So we had to unify the data or this data structure and ensure high quality, consistent inputs
hmm,
for the model.
okay? Now,
Yeah.
are we saying in that is that sometimes the data that we put also makes a difference when we look at the compliance requirement?
Yes.
Okay, so okay, got it. So how do when we look at data, we also are looking at the LLM or the model that we are creating to look at accuracy in terms of what is getting fed. Now, many of the people I would
Yes.
like to tell the audience is that most of us think AI will look at giving right answers, but when you look at a model that is getting built, you need to feed the right data also for it to give you the right results. That's what I think Seema is trying to give us as an information. Hope I made it. I
Yes.
told it right, Seema.
Yes, Prem.
Yeah. Now, how do we balance the human judgment aspect when AI recommendations in critical compliance decision? Because what is happening is we are feeding a model, right? And that model gives you some of the recommendations. At times, those recommendations are not aligned to what we think as it should be, right? How do we look at that kind of a scrutiny or a challenge that we should look at when we have the AI recommendations getting implemented for critical compliance decisions?
Okay. According to me, like AI enhances efficiency, but should not replace human expertise in high risk decisions. Okay. So what we implemented is a tiered risk system where AI automates low risk and supports medium risk, and wherever there is a high risk, it escalates cases to compliance officers. So, explainable AI tools help these compliance officers understand why the transaction is flagged, ensuring transparency in the scenario. So, that way, compliance professionals remain involved in refining AI models and validating its outputs. Uh, Also, during regular audits, ensure AI decisions align with regulatory and ethical standards. By combining this AI speed and human oversight, we achieve better accuracy and accountability. So, this balance maximizes AI benefits without compromising decision making quality.
Okay, so there is a human element that is always there, is what you are saying. And when
Yes,
we
we
look
cannot
at the AI,
eliminate human.
yeah, I think the pointer that we are getting to understand on what you are saying is AI recommendation are critical, but there is a final authority that still remains with us as humans to take that critical decisions. We have not come into a stage where AI is going to take the decisions on behalf of us, and that kind of a thing is not that we are going to look in the future. Also, is what I get to understand from what Seema is saying. And in your experience, what are the common misconceptions about AI in GRC that professionals should be aware of? Because we are talking AI in every field, right? So
Yes.
anything specific that you have, which is a compliance, because GRC stands for governance, risk, and compliance. So we need to understand what are the risks, what are the compliance, and what is the that we get with this being added to AI.
Okay. So, what I have, I mean, during the talks with the professionals outside and other places where I visit for the events and conferences, where there is a common misconception which is there in is that AI can replace compliance jobs, but it
Hmm.
actually enhances the human expertise by handling repetitive tasks. Okay,
Right.
so there are certain repetitive tasks which we don't want to do because we know what is the outcome and what is the output. So those cases we can certainly hand over to AI, and then we can be focusing on other tasks which need more attention than what we are supposed to be doing, kind of, right? So some believe AI is always accurate. So yet effectiveness depends on high quality, unbiased data. So another myth is that AI-driven compliance is one-time setup. That is also a
Hmm.
misconception which everyone has. But AI model require continuous updates to adapt to evolving regulations. Many assume that AI eliminates all false positives, which is not.
Yeah.
Yeah, so but human oversight is still needed for compliance for complex cases. Some fear AI is a black box. There are different AI models, I'm not saying, but yeah, mostly the misconception is black box. But with
Hmm.
explainability tools, its decision can be understood and audited. And clarifying these misconception helps organization use AI effectively and responsibly.
I'm getting your point where we are talking of integrating AI in a sense
Yes.
that it automates most of the mundane jobs that we do, which there are so many things that are there which are repetitive in nature, right? So maybe an updating an Excel sheet, updating a mailer sent to be sent, a reminder to be sent. These are all things that can be automated and you don't need a human intervention. So these repetitive tasks is what can be automated, and that's where AI is helping to save that time that you used to do in terms of sending those mails or drafting these mails. If you have that set as a workflow, and it takes it over very accurately. Now,
Yes.
most of the misconception what Seema is talking about also is there is this is an evolving structure, and AI is trying to learn by itself and then come out with solutions, and it is enhancing us also to think with the results that it is giving out. So it's a double learning system where it is enhancing your knowledge into saying this is how I predicted it, and then you can take right decisions, right, Seema?
Yes.
How has the role of a GRC leader evolved with the advent of AI technologies, that too in the financial sector? Because every number counts, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
According to me, like GRC leaders has the role of GRC leader has shifted from manual oversight to strategic governance, wherein the
Mhm.
leaders must now understand the AI capabilities, limitations, and ethical implications. Instead of focusing solely on compliance checklist, they should be working on risk modeling and predictive analytics to prevent issues before they arise. Also, AI requires strong data governance, ensuring that models use high quality, unbiased data. Okay. Also, the GRC leaders must collaborate with data scientists, regulators, and executives to align AI strategies with business objectives. So, continuous monitoring of AI performance and regulatory alignment is now a core responsibility. So, this evolution means GRC leaders must be both technology aware and regulation savvy to drive AI adoption responsibly.
Okay. Got that point. Now, with that, I have another two questions to you before we conclude. Can you provide an example where AI not only reduced risks but also added an unexpected value to your organization?
Okay, so AI was originally deployed to detect fraud, but it also
Hmm.
identified inefficiencies in our internal processes
Okay.
by analyzing user behaviors, and the AI system flagged repeated login failures and slow transaction processing times. So these are some of the cases where we it helped us to detect fraud. This insight helped IT teams improve system performance, reducing downtime, and enhancing customer experience. Additionally, AI uncovered gaps in compliance training, showing which teams struggled with policy adherence. So this led to targeted training programs, improving regulatory compliance. The and the unexpected value came from AI's ability to optimize both risk management and operational efficiency. So it reinforced that AI benefits extend beyond security into overall business performance.
Okay. Now, coming to the last pointer that I would like to understand, because we are running a short session today, and we want to have the final question that we want to see. And before that, I after this question, I will summarize what we've discussed part of this discussion. What advice would you give to mid-level managers aiming to integrate AI into their GRC practices effectively? Because AI is not cheap again, right? The way we look at it. And small organizations or large organizations take time to integrate. So, what is your advice on that, Simi?
So from my side to the mid-level managers is like to start with small AI projects that demonstrate quick wins before scaling up. Learn the basics of AI to communicate effectively with data teams and understand how models work. Okay, and focus on AI governance early, ensuring transparency, bias mitigation, and regulatory alignment. Also, they can engage with compliance teams in AI training to build trust and prevent resistance. Also, human use a human in the loop approach, allowing AI to assist rather than replace decision making. Regularly test AI outputs to ensure accuracy and fairness in compliance decisions. By combining technical knowledge with regulatory expertise, mid-level manager can lead AI adoption successfully.
Okay, got those points. I would like to summarize on what we discussed on today's discussion. And as we are looking at, we started with what was the pointer that pivotal moment that AI driven solutions were integrated or added to the GRC. And Sima shared how AI integration to GRC process significantly mitigated a potential risk. That's the one point that. Then we spoke about AI driven compliance tools, which are evolving and also matching the regulatory standards. And how do we look at? Then we look at effectiveness of AI when we talk to stakeholders why AI introduction is required from a traditional GRC framework. We spoke about that. Then we spoke about challenges faced for scaling up AI solutions into GRCs and how did they overcome that. And the second and the next point, that is how do we look at AI recommendations that are critical compliance decisions managed between human and the AI recommendations. In We also spoke about some of the misconceptions about AI and GRC professionals should be aware. Then we spoke about how GRC is getting evolved with AI coming in. And we spoke also about risk and mitigation pointers to the organization and what value it can bring. And the final that we discussed was the mid-level managers aiming to integrate AI into AI GRC practices effectively. That's what we discussed overall. Sima, anything that you would like to add as a final statement or a closing statement before we conclude, Sima?
No, Ibrahim. Thank you so much for the
Yeah.
opportunity.
With this, I would like to say that we have streamed this podcast onto YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn and Instagram. You can have this recording looked at. Please do follow us and support us in this initiative of sharing the knowledge. And this with this, we have our next podcast coming, the 223rd episode on the 8th of March, 6:30 p.m. IST. Looking forward to see you again.
8th of April, I think. No?
Sorry, Seema.
8th of
8th
April,
of
I
April.
think, right?
Yes. Is it
Okay. You said
March?
March.
Sorry
That's
about
it.
it. 8th of April at 6:30 p.m. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Seema. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you so much. Thanks,
Thank you.
everyone.